Here we are, keynote, realisation of commitments and ongoing investment. What on earth is that talking about? Get to that in a minute. So as Jeremy said, hopefully some of you know me at least. Dave Anstey, Engineering Director at Unit4, responsible for the Unit4 Financials by Coda product. Have been at the company over 20 years, which is a pretty long time, and loved every minute of it. I've got a long service medal, which is a medal, which is a little diamond glass, not diamond, it would be lovely if it was, with Unit4 plastered across it, and it does sit next to my desk at home, and I'm super proud of it. So before we go into what we're here to talk about, I'd just like to kind of get you to use your imagination for a moment and imagine that rather than looking at me, you're looking at somebody who's considerably taller, certainly wider. I'm not talking about that way, but certainly that way. If you imagine somebody who's a lot hairier than myself around the face, but nowhere near as handsome, then you end up with this chap here. Mark is our VP of Strategic Sales, as it says, and Mark really wanted to be here, so he says. He's sunning himself in Norfolk at the moment, and it's a bit unfortunate for him that the keynote that he wrote, that I'm presenting, was supposed to be delivered by himself, but as he's away on pre-booked annual leave, he started muttering things about divorce and stuff like that, so I can't really get away and blah, blah, blah. I think that's quite poor excuse, but he's not here. He does give his apologies, so you end up with me. So I'm going to leave him there for a few minutes. I have to work with him, so there's no reason why you can't suffer him just for a couple of minutes while I talk about why we're here. What commitments, what ongoing investment, what are you talking about, Dave? The story starts really sometime last year when, in a sense, I'd been seconded. So I was still looking after engineering of Unit4 Financials by Coda. I was still looking after that, but at an arm's reach. And I'd spent 3 years helping Unit4 get their latest flagship ERP product ready for production and general release. And I ended up, quite rightly, in discussions with our GLT last year about the value of the customer base and the product to Unit4. Those conversations led to further conversations with our owners, our board, TA Associates, and ultimately we constructed a strategy that was exactly what we're talking about, or what I mentioned, which was to actually re-energize and focus our investment in Unit4 Financials. And it took a number of routes, which I'll get to in a moment. But in terms of communication of that, the first sort of insight of that really to the outside world was an email from our CEO in December. And I'm going to read little bits of this just to kind of introduce the topic. But I am actually keen to know, and if you're a Unit4 employee, this does not include you, I'm keen to know who has received or seen this email. So it's an email from our CEO, Mike Ettling, in December last year, talking about Unit4 Financials by Coda. Has anybody seen this, or is anybody aware of it? Any hands at all? Okay, so we're either sending to the wrong people, or we're sending to the right people, and we're not suggesting that that's forwarded to the right people. So I'm going to take something away. So I want to just talk a little bit about what this says. Dear valued customer, I think when it officially went out, it will hopefully have put a name in there. At Unit4, we're committed to delivering best-in-class experience at every step of your journey with us. As one of our Unit4 Financials by Coda customers, I wanted to share a number of key product updates and further news. So this is from our CEO out to every single client of the Unit4 Financials product. New name and even better solution. So we're evolving the Unit4 Financials brand to become Unit4 Financials by Coda. And the next bit that's said after this is really important. The reason for this, our user community, you guys, has many strong connections and a wealth of experience with the Coda brand. So retaining this association will provide a clear differentiation from our Unit4 ERP finance product. So really the idea is to get the Unit4 Financials by Coda product to stand on its own, to be differentiated, but also to recognise the history, the investment and the loyalty. I'm also delighted to confirm that we're making significant investments in further innovation for this solution, enabling us to accelerate the delivery of a number of roadmap deliverables, covering backlog items, blah, 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 blah. In addition, we're focusing on maximising the power of the Microsoft Azure cloud platform, meaning that some of our new and augmented capabilities will now only be made available in the Unit4 cloud, blah, 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 FP&A Lite, blah, 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 blah. So, what's just key about this is the fundamental shift that has allowed us to do, not just strategically, not just with product, but with energy in other, the rest of the sort of go-to-market and support and sales operations within Unit4. So it came with a number of routes, and I just want to touch on these routes for a few minutes. Long-term commitment to the product. So that's what that email was about. I think there was some marketing preamble launch in September, but Mike's email, the intention of which, and I have to take that back because it's scary that we didn't get one hand. Mark Gibbison did a similar event in Germany to our German user base, and there was some hands, but even he was distressed by how few people had seen that communication. We have to learn from that. We have to learn. So it categorically is a long-term commitment. Now, the reason I'm stressing that point is I know for a fact that many customers have been concerned about the future of the product. Do we move? What's happening with it? Nothing seems to be happening. Do Unit4 care? We categorically do. We're really starting to move forwards. The rebranding bit is actually very important. I was filled with joy having been with Coda for so long and then Unit4, filled with joy that we actually got the Coda name back into the product. It's just branding, I understand that, and certainly we don't want something like Unit4 Financials powered by Coda, etc., but the fact that we've got the name there gives us that focus, gives us that drive. This is a really interesting one, website prominence. A lot of people, a lot of customers and prospects for sure who may want to have heard of financials and wanted to find out about it had to go grubbing around on our website to actually find information. Was that deliberate? In a sense it was, but when we talked to our marketing people, they said, well, if the customer is known to us by some technical magical wizardry, we will identify who they are and take them straight to the financials page. That wasn't good enough. If anybody has looked recently at the website, it's there, it's accessible from the homepage, information about Unit4 Financials. It's a small but really significant step because it indicates the drive, the meaning, and the deliberate attempt to bring it back into the fore in terms of the significance to us as a software provider. We have committed as part of the drive to communicate better, to communicate more regularly. So we have introduced, and I'll talk a bit more about regular webinars where Jane and myself and Mark and others talk to you about latest things in the product, what's going on, etc. So I'll touch on those a bit more throughout this session. And we categorically, careful Dave, don't shout, categorically have increased our R&D resources that are dedicated to Unit4 Financials by Coda. That's on the next slide. I really do want to showcase that because I'm super pleased about that. Leveraging the Azure Cloud Platform capabilities, that really is talking about how in a migration to cloud, you get a whole new world open to you in terms of capabilities, solution capabilities. So we are a cloud company. we cannot get away from the fact that Unit4 are striving to be a true cloud company. That's not to say, and as Mike Ettling was here, I think, at the session 2 years ago that Jeremy was referring to, we are still on premises. Of course we are. The large proportion of our customers are still running on premises, but you have to open your hearts, open your minds, because we are a cloud company. Therefore, the real journey is heading in that direction, as will become clear. But on premises, it's the same code, the same source, the same deliverable. So that's really important to understand. So I want to talk about the investment in resources. And really, at a nuts and bolts level, this gives us the ability to drive out more product, whether that be technology, whether that be feature function, whether that be security, whatever. In all of those domains, by opening up the capabilities, we really have more flexibility and more pace. So on your left-hand side, this is talking about what was the existing experienced user base. I've been at Unit4/Coda for over 20 years. Most of the people who work with me on product have been with the company longer than me, apart from one. So I'm the new boy, 20 odd years, and I'm the new boy. That's a bit scary, and it's a bit humbling, but it's fantastic because the depth of experience in the product that resides, can't really say in the Harrogate office because most people work from home these days. We have an office, people do rotate in there to get face-to-face 3D contact with their colleagues, but super experienced people. So, and I mean it when I say they've got literally hundreds of years experience. When you add up, I think somebody actually got their 30-year medal, I keep saying medal, award. So here we have the equivalent of two multidisciplinary Scrum teams. We work in an agile delivery methodology, so we're no longer the old style waterfall, and I'll come on to that bit later in the product session. So we constantly deliver in fast iterations. So we also have in there that comment at the bottom. We have another financials product in the group. Well, we have a few, but we're end-of-lifing a product called Decade, and we've transitioned those staff into Unit4 Financials, all operating logically within a European base, shall we say, although the predominance is in the UK. And then the exciting part, if I wasn't excited enough about that already, is over in Indonesia. We decided, we have a number of large engineering hubs in Unit4. We have one in Spain, in Granada. We have one in Poland, in a city called Wrocław. And we have a smaller one in Lisbon, in Portugal. And we have a growing one in Jakarta. I say in Jakarta, that's where our office is. But actually, we're an open company where we employ people on a work from home or a you choose basis. So these are not outsourced. These are our own employees. And I personally was involved in recruiting every single one of them. I wanted to do that, and I'm pleased I did. So we have 12 new employees. They're now all with us. So we've been through the recruitment phase. The first one started in January. The last three started the beginning of May, 3rd of May. And these are very, very talented people. I know I can say that because I had the final decision on every one. I spoke to everyone myself. And they've now been through a full onboarding program that we prepared with Jane's help and people in engineering. We had a full training course for them to go through. So they're fully onboarded. And every single one of them now is committed to delivering to the product. So much so that when you think they started, okay, some of them in January, but a lot of them in May, I said we work in delivery cycles. So we have a sprint every 3 weeks and you have to showcase that work every 3 weeks. And this team did a sprint review yesterday to show off and have feedback on what they did. I couldn't attend that because I was at another critical meeting and then traveling. So I said, please record and I'll have a look. So I watched the recording last night and I fed back to them, and this is what I said. Hello everyone, I've just watched the sprint review. I'm super pleased about how you've all turned your onboarding knowledge transfer to such good use so quickly. It's a testament to you all, both sides of the world. I'm at a user conference tomorrow giving the keynote, and I will certainly be mentioning this. Brilliant. Can I have more, please? That's a pretty quick turnaround. So the whole point about this is that we now have the energy to start delivering. And Jane will talk about roadmap and things. We really can start to make that a realization. And in that sprint review, this team had delivered feature function, customer bug fixes, all through and validated through our process. Absolutely chuffed to bits. Okay, so I talked about cloud, leveraging cloud, and what does that mean? So this really is a summary of extensions that we have been delivering and will deliver to our core Unit4 Financials product last year and this year and going forwards. Down the bottom left, our first step, our first transition to cloud in terms of our internal infrastructure, as opposed to, let's say, our internal products or our partner products, was identity services and extension kit. Identity services is an ability to authenticate, two-factor, multi-factor authentication, and through a cloud-based service, which really, in this day and age, is a critical place to be. So we integrated financials into the Unit4 identity services. Whatever mechanism you as a customer wish to use, OpenID, Okta, whatever it might be, then that's available to you, whatever your organizational choice might be. You can now authenticate in the cloud your financials product. We also took the first step to integrate to what we call our People Platform Extension Kit. And that is a low-code, no-code route to extend, by the very name of it, extend your product capabilities. And that is a foot in the door to what I'll talk about in a moment about the industry mesh. So now, for those of you who know your product and you know the capability called structured output, then you'll know that you can formulate and extract data from your application. You can manipulate that data into formats you require, then you can output it in various forms, whether that be to a flat file, whether that be through file transmission, or whether that be routed through to our extension kit. And interestingly enough, that is the very mechanism we've used to deliver FP&A Lite, which I'll get to in a sec. Second thing with our cloud, extended cloud capabilities, we have a service to provide a replicated database. Speaks for itself what that is. That will be part of the service contract. And the key thing here is that customers use this for offline reporting and various other things. So if that's something you want, if that's something you feel you need, if you move to our cloud service, you can also take the replicated database service as well. Then FP&A Lite. Now, FP&A Lite, some years ago, Unit4 bought a company called Prevero, which is a financial planning and analysis tool. And that's been available to the Unit4 financial space for quite some years, but not in a truly integrated manner. So we took the route to introduce something called FP&A Lite, using our using our extension kit and people platform mechanism to deliver. And I'm going to use some crib words just so I give it the full value, to deliver some really highly powered, visualized data analysis. So FP&A Lite helps transform Unit4 Financials by Coda into a more strategic platform with better dashboarding for analysis, planning and forecasting. Gives you the power to perform self-service analysis on financial profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow statements, and it enables users to discover and understand the financial information behaviour through a single lens. The important thing also is that when you're sat in FP&A, you have drill back from that data back through to financials. That's really key. So you can actually get the depth of understanding all the way back to the source data. That's a reality. That's a reality. That's a reality from last year. This year, we're moving on to further integration. So we acquired a company in 2022 called ScanMarket. ScanMarket has two fantastic aspects to it. It has a source to contract capability, which I'm told is second to none. I'm not told this by ScanMarket, I'm told this by our global head of procurement. He has implemented that in Unit 4, and he's done a first open bid for a contract for some penetration testing, actually, of our software. And it's gone all the way through the bid process, the open market process, through to contract. And he can't stop singing the praises enough about it. That's not what we're here to talk about today, because the second part is the actual spend analytics side of ScanMarket. And that side of things really, and again, I'll read this because we have Luke Sharratt later, I think, is doing a session. Is Luke around? Look around, can't see. No, okay, he'll be here later. But so, following our acquisition of ScanMarket last year, we're developing the spend analytics capability for use with U4F. It's delivered as a suite of pre-configured dashboards which provide the business intelligence you need to understand historical and current spend and help you accurately forecast future spend. And it goes on. Get to that session, okay? So you don't need to do anything. This will be configured and implemented for you. And I've actually seen it, I've seen demos of it, and it really is a fascinating product. It's a deep dive into your spend and slice, dice, drill, etc. So you could do worse things than attend that. That's a reality. We have that available this year. It's very, very close, actually. We're going through our cloud validation process at the moment. So that will be with us very shortly. Then if we move away from our internal architecture deliveries and we move away from our product sets within Unit 4, we then look at partners. So again, this is opening up and giving further leverage. HeyCentric have been a partner within Unit 4 for quite some time. In this year, but I actually think it's in this quarter, we will have our first Unit4 Financials customer that will start to use our partner, HeyCentric's e-payments and income management system. And we have, I think, no, we don't have somebody talking about that today. But again, we've partnered with them for years now, and it's a powerful suite. I'll just give a few snippets. Number of ways to use payment systems which allow organizations to manage regular payments in a multitude of ways, including online web payments, automated telephone payments, in-person payments, etc. Highly effective overview of an organization's cash position as well, and it assists in both tactical and strategic decision making. So if you are interested in that type of extension to your product set, please do talk to us, and we'll certainly help facilitate that particular integration for you. And finally, the industry mesh. And, you know, this is a catchphrase that's used quite a lot at the moment, but this really is a set of out-of-the-box integrations to industry standard applications and data. So I'm talking about things like Dun & Bradstreet for credit checking. I'm talking about exchange rate loading, etc. So again, using the extension kit, using our integration capabilities within the product, we can open up and deliver to you predefined integrations. And again, if you have any interest in what they might be, please do talk to us. There's a whole suite of them becoming available. We've just kicked off the first 9 for ERP, and this year we'll be working those back to become available for financials. So that's those 3. Okay, back to the product. And we are now in a continuous release forum. So we deliver our product every quarter at continuous release. And keep in mind that continuous release is the only maintained version of financials. So if you're not there, you need to get there. Whether that's on-premise or whether that's cloud, you really need to get there. Every single quarter without fail. Quarter 1, 2023 Q1 as it's politely known, is available for download for on-premises customers, 14th of March. We're currently working on Q2. The sprint review I talked about was the 3rd and final sprint of our Q2 release, and then we go into a final sprint, which is all of our upgrade and platform testing and final validation before we release. If you're in cloud, what happens is that once available, that will go into a non-production environment for you, and that's where you can then validate your key business processes, etc., before it's put into production. But again, I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. So Jane will talk to you about these releases, what's really cool about them. But as it says, you know, new functionality, security updates, cloud enrichment. The point being that we're well away from the old style releases of anywhere between 18 months to 2.5 years apart. We keep delivering product. So, how do you get involved in those continuous releases? How do you take best value? You could do worse than take a cloud migration, okay? If you're in the cloud, all of the pain of doing the upgrade, all of the effort involved in stepping up to the next release is done for you. All of the cost of ownership of the infrastructure, it's all done for you. So basically, you start with Unit4 Financials. You can either go straight to SaaS, or you can take what we call Cloud Step 1, which is basically a holistic move of your current environment and then gradually peel away any obstacles to true SaaS. It gives you those additional products that I was talking about just now. And how it works is you get a cloud migration assessment, and we end up with what we call a t-shirt size migration. And once, as part of that migration, we will look at, are there any other values added services that you might want, managed application, replication, etc., etc. Please do speak to your account manager. If you're on premises and you have a cloud future, you want to go for a cloud future, and it is the future. Not forgetting, we have on-prem, and of course we'll honor that, we'll support that, we treasure that. Cloud is the way to go. Please speak to your account manager. That's one way you can easily get involved in the regular releases. If you're on premises, I know for a fact that as a customer, you're reluctant to change and move on every single quarter, okay? Remove that pain, go cloud. Second way is to be part of it, frankly. So get on the community, talk about your thoughts about Unit4 Financials. If you've got a great idea, we want to hear about it. Get on there, tell us what your product idea is. All of the other customers on the community start chatting about it, they start voting for it. Every single week, Jane, myself, and the engineering managers meet, and we're in a bit of a catch-up, but we're doing it every week. We meet and we look at the ideas that have the highest votes, and we discuss whether, yes, you don't want to do that, and this is why not, or, hey, the product already does that, right? And you didn't know, or that's a great enhancement. And Jane will talk about how we take those great enhancements, put them into the product. That's the second way you could get involved. Just talked about that. The third way is just hear about what's going on. If you don't know it's there, you won't be able to take it on. So please sign up for the webinars. If you've never heard about them, talk to your account manager. Sign up for the webinars. Have a good listen. That gives you an insight as to what's happened and therefore what you've just missed, but also what's coming up. The final thing that I wanted to touch on really was about a new innovation that's coming along, which is called our marketplace. Very pertinent that we're at what, for me, is a partner conference. So our marketplace basically opens up the shop window to allow our partners to demonstrate, to showcase new products, new extensions that they have that you guys could then take the benefit of and buy from the marketplace. It's a great way of seeing what's available to extend the product. What we also will be doing is implementing a developer program. So we will open up to our partners a sandbox environment where they can then build with up-to-date versions of the software. They can build these integrations that they're then ready to put onto the marketplace. It's not quite there for financials, okay? But it's very close. We have just launched it for ERP. Financials is coming. Trust me on that. So, to sum up, and bang on time, I just wanted to say that the importance of all of that is that this is showing growth in the importance of all of you customers and the Unit4 product to Unit4. As you can see, these are the step-ups, if you like, last year, once we decided to move forwards. We've increased our global recurring revenue. We've increased our net new logos, new names. Some of those are from end-of-life products, but some of them are net new from outside our organization. We did 24 cloud migrations. We have 750 customers that we treasure, and only 110 of them are in the cloud, and I want to change that dramatically. Please think about that. So, summary, you can see that for yourself. I'm out of time. Jane says, "You waffle, Dave." I think I probably have. So, please, please, please book your cloud assessment. And with that, I'm going to introduce the next guest, who's probably me, but I'll leave that to you, Jeremy. So thank you very much indeed. Cheers.